I don't know how much of a comment we're going to be getting here, but I'm going to comment about the comment section of pretty much anything. So the amount of stuff that gets taken as a personal attack by almost everybody. So I've been on a lot of things about EVs lately because we're getting pushed in a direction even to buy modern cars. So my car is currently, 22 years old. The one I had before that was 25 years old. The one I had before that was only like 15. But eventually, I think, I'm going to go back to probably riding a horse. I don't actually think I'm going to go back to riding a horse, but I think the way that the technology is going, it'll be a horse for me. Maybe not. It's just simply that things are getting more and more complicated, more and more difficult to fix. The design life on them, like a car used to be built and it would last. A guy I work with, he's just gotten a car that from 1970, so it's 50 years old. And all of the things he's had to replace on it are simply because it's been sitting for the last 15 years. But if you stuck a modern car, no matter how good a quality that modern car is considered, and you threw it in a carport for 15 years, I doubt there would be much of it other than the body, and maybe the glass would still be okay. All the plastics would have degraded. The engine would be sludgy. So it might be okay, but probably not, because majority of the components in modern cars are designed on the service life of the vehicle, which is dictated by how often they want you to buy a vehicle. Now, most cars now are bought by fleets or companies, so they're leased, and they get kept for 60,000 Ks. So even though they go, it's got a billion kilometre warranty, it's 4,000 years, it's irrelevant, because once it gets to the second owner, most of those people don't really give a rat's ass about warranties. So that's also why they have 20,000 K service intervals, which is just far too long. Even 15,000 is too much. The oils are not that much better quality, and motors are built sloppy in order to be efficient. So like a V8 supercar, right? They're like a 5-litre engine. They produce like 600 and something horsepower. They literally have, they don't turn over. You can't make them spin until they're warm. So they pump warm water, warm oil into these things to get them closer to the temperature. Then when they fire them up, they'll turn over because their tolerances are so tight, so tiny. But guess what that doesn't do? Doesn't give you good fuel economy. So in order to get good fuel economy, that's why they make modern engines looser. It also makes it what means that it's why modern engines are essentially not rebuildable on the whole. Some are still simple enough that you could do it, but are not necessarily good enough to warrant doing it. So they're sloppy. So they do more damage to the cylinder, more damage to the pistons, and the other bits are essentially irrelevant. But plastic water pumps, plastic manifolds, plastic EGR plumbing, plastic blah, 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 blah. And it's just none of it's really conducive with longevity. And they're not designed to be. Because like all manufacturing, the objective isn't to get one in every home. It's to get one in every home every couple of years. So modern EVs and modern ICE vehicles, conventional vehicles, their objective is to just get you to buy another one every couple of years. That's it. Not green, not clean, not better for the environment. At the end of the day, most of the carbon that's been produced by my vehicle was produced during its manufacture, which was 22 years ago. I could probably organise to plant enough trees just in land that no one would care about to offset all of the carbon that my car is now currently producing. Same can't be said for building a new EV, because the places that you might have wanted to build the trees, you know what I mean, to plant the trees, to grow the trees, is probably now a giant fuck-off hole in the ground where they're getting the copper and all the other materials required to build the modern vehicles. Anyway, that's all I've really got to say about that. I didn't mean to tangentially rant, but so the comment sections. So I'd say something about an EV and they'd go, oh, your smoke burner is... And I mean, I get a little annoyed because it's just not essentially accurate. But what do they call it? A ad hominem attack. If you don't have a legitimate argument, you just call someone names or... And that's basically what all comment sections are on everything. And then the other thing, like with reviews. So people will go, yeah, this new show's like no good, the writing's crap, the characters are crap, everything's just no good. And then people will go, it's not that bad. So is that what we're using for the scale of quality now? It's not that bad. Well, whatever happened to merit? Whatever happened to quality over quantity? But we just seem to be making more and more and more and more shit that we all just keep buying more and more and more and more shit. I've got this monitor here that I'm using. It's 8 years old. I've got another one over here that I got from a garage sale. I think that's about the same age, and that would have been like $1,000 monitor years ago. Now this is fairly new, but this was cheap and I got it with a voucher. This camera is like 10-15 years old. This camera is like 10-15 years old. My favorite camera, which is still sitting on the shelf over there, that I really want to get fixed, because I bought that new in like 2008, but it doesn't stream anymore. My audio recorder, that's like smashed at the back, but the mics still work, the plugs all work, it still audio records, it still inputs stuff. Still camera. The only real new thing that I have in my life ever is phones, and that's just because I'm so harsh on phones, no matter what case they're in, that I break them. And I get called a hypocrite because I use a new phone. But people also, other than just the ad hominem attack and the it's not that bad, people don't seem to understand scale. So basically, every mobile phone on the planet that currently exists is probably not even half the amount of lithium needed to be mined as the current crop of EVs that exist. So every phone versus just rich asshole cars. So I've crunched a few numbers, right? So the interwebs tells me that there's about 15 billion mobile devices, not only phones, but mobile devices, 15 billion mobile devices in the world. There's 40 million EVs. An EV uses about 8,000 times the amount of lithium. So you can probably do the maths yourself. Someone's saying that I have a lithium device because I've got a mobile phone. When I say something about EVs, and it's a really disingenuous argument because I don't have 8,000 phones. I also would keep them longer if they weren't made such weak shit. But so to me, that just shows that they have no basic understanding of scale. They just don't. That's basically the comparison. That it's not that bad. It doesn't produce smoke when I'm sitting in my car listening to Spotify when I'm in the garage at home. So my car's cleaner than your car. Well, I don't sit in the garage with the engine running. Well, first of all, I can't afford a garage, so that's also why I don't do it. Yeah, I don't understand how humans' quality assurance and the standard for what they consider quality has dropped so far. Now, for years, I've been observing that these prestige cars, the Mercedeses, the Mercedeses, what is it? Anyway, the Mercedes thing, that they're not particularly reliable. Their customer service isn't particularly good. But yet, because they've got the not peace sign on them, you know, a circle that, yeah, I don't know. The guy on the internet the other day called it the German Death Star company. They're not excellent vehicles. Now, I happen to like VW products. I really like Audis. Would never recommend 121, but the only reason I like Audis is because I can work on them and I know what goes wrong with them and I can fix it. Okay, it's expensive to fix, it's complicated to fix, but and Volkswagens. They have a really bad rap from Dieselgate and from other things. And again, if you're going to keep a car forever, probably not the car to get. You still need to just go and buy a 10-year-old Camry or Prius or something like that. If you want to keep a car for a long time, they're about the only things that you can get. But the standard, like rich people stuff, is just ugly and expensive and not reliable or practical. And I guess that's where it's all started, because they're the ones that put the money into the system that then enables cheap versions of that shit to be made. It's all cheap shit. It's all right. How about it's excellent? How about we go back to a world where when you pay for something, you get really, really, really good quality. Not you buy something cheap from Temu and it's garbage and you go, oh, well, it was cheap. But then you buy something that's not cheap from somewhere else and you go, well, it was better than the cheap one. I know people that are still using plasmas from 15 years ago. But you won't be able to be using a modern LCD TV, even if it's a Sony or a Panasonic, even if it's a good quality thing. You're not supposed to be using it for 15 years. As soon as everyone went to 1080p, it's all 4K, and so now everyone's got 4K. Most people don't play games. Most content isn't in 4K. And then now they've got these 8K things, like they're bringing out cameras that are 8K and stuff. And yeah, that camera's shut off again. Anyway, 8K. What do you? Who even can see 8K? Who even notices what 8K is? 8K. Yeah, it's daft, it's silly, and we all just need to find products that are actually good quality. If it means you use a fridge that's from the 50s rather than buy a new fridge every few years, because sorry, but in my experience, new fridges don't last 20 years. But I was using a fridge at a friend's place that looked like a pile of rust, that had been regassed once in the last 30 years, and it was from 1966 or something, had a big latch on it and everything, and according to the movies, you could survive a nuclear explosion from inside it. But anyway, I guess that's beside the point. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's all I've really got to rant about that. If you can't be good, be, I don't know, I guess good at it, and be somewhat okay to one another, or at least all right. It's all right.